Hello, and welcome back to Markers and Monsters. As usual, I'm your host, Colin, and today I felt like drawing Pinhead from the Hellraiser movie, so hey, you know what? Let's just get right on into it. So I'm going to start here just by loosely sketching this out. I kind of wanted to give Pinhead a little bit off to the side here and just focus mainly on the face. I guess what really made me want to do this is I really wanted to practice doing maybe slightly more realistic tones and looks in like a portrait with the markers. And rather than picking just some regular dude, I thought Pinhead. Why not? Then when I went into coloring all his pins, I realized what a giant mistake that was. But no, I kid. It worked out good. He was a lot of fun to draw. I don't know. I think maybe I was watching Hellraiser recently and just kind of got in my head like, oh yeah, I should do this. So kind of gave him a neutral expression here, and just like I said, I set him off to one side of the page just to kind of create a little visual interest. I felt like if he was centered right in the middle, he was not going to look quite so good. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, actually. One thing that's kind of helped over the years is in like drawing faces and whatnot is there's certain rules that you can apply to the human face, like if you draw like your egg shape for the main face and draw like a line down the center, that vertical line where like the nose and the mouth and all that, the center line will go. There's all kind of different like little lines you can add in, like the edges of the lips end up being the center of the pupils if you go straight up with it, and things like the eye line is little more than halfway up the face and stuff like that. So anyway, getting into it, I also wanted to give Pinhead, he's got a very cool tone to him, so that's why I'm kind of hitting him with the blue here and just kind of outlining certain areas. Being that he's kind of I don't know, not undead, but not entirely a healthy human, his flesh has a lot of cool colors to it, so that's just kind of what I'm doing here and hitting it and getting the blue on. I started with a lighter blue and then just kind of went with a darker, and as you'll see as I do this and add in the flesh tones and stuff like that, I just keep adding in darker tones. The blues I kept mainly to the shadowed areas of his face, and I think that ends up looking the best. Now we're going to add in, he kind of wears this leather, I don't know, outfit of some kind. I don't even know what you describe it as, but yeah, it's leather and it's black, so I'm adding that in here now. But yeah, very fun to do. Just kind of add in simple tones on the skin. Another thing too is areas where I know that there's going to be highlights, like the tops of his cheeks and stuff like that, just kind of leaving those white and blank for as long as possible. Alright, so let's talk about the first Hellraiser movie for a while. Really the franchise in general, and let's just chat about what Pinhead is and all that. Some of you might not know. Some of you might only be vaguely familiar with the characters, like the face of the franchise for the Hellraiser series, as it were. Pinhead's actually, at least in the first movie before they kind of, I don't know, made him a little weird. It's a really cool character and a really neat idea. And basically, Hellraiser is a 1987 film which was written and directed by Clive Barker, a horror author. He also, in '86, wrote the story, The Hellbound Heart, which the Hellraiser series and kind of mythology and stuff is based off of. Anyway, Pinhead here was never in the first movie actually called Pinhead. That was just what the makeup artists called the character. He had all these nails in his head. In the movie, he was just referred to as Lead Cenobite, or Cenobite number 1. And that was only in the credits. They never really gave him a name in the movie. And a Cenobite, if you're wondering, is it's like an old word for somebody who is part of like a religious order, and that's essentially what Pinhead here is. It's a, I don't know, he represents, or he is the leader of a group of other Cenobites, and they all have different modifications to them. but they come from another dimension, which may or may not be hell. It's never stated whether that's the actual hell or if it's just another dimension. But these guys come, and they're basically practitioners of extreme sensation. So that's both like pleasure and pain. And they come to Earth whenever a specific puzzle box is solved in a certain manner. And that's kind of the key or gateway. It opens the door to their dimension. They come forward, and whichever unlucky soul has solved this puzzle box, they essentially take them to this other dimension and subject them to, like I said, both extreme pleasures and extreme pain, and this tends to drive people insane. The puzzle box is kind of an interesting thing. It's like representative of, if somebody's like a hedonist or somebody's really into, like pushing the boundaries or limits of experience. Usually there's like a herald of some kind. In the first movie, it's the homeless guy that has the box, or the weird merchant, but he makes sure that whoever is seeking these experiences out finds this puzzle box. Then when they solve it, the gateway opens, and Pinhead and his other Cenobites come and take that person's, I guess, soul to this other dimension. So it's kind of neat, and it's an interesting thing that I like a lot, because Pinhead is not presented as like evil or malicious in any way. He's just kind of the guy, you open the puzzle box, you called him, man. He didn't come looking for you. You're the one that, even if it was unknowing, you're the one that called him into existence, and then he takes your soul or what. I don't even know if he takes your soul, but anyway, he removes you from the current reality into this other world that might not be to your liking, but that's what he does. And he and the other Cenobites that kind of come with him. Now, they all had names by the makeup department as well, and they kind of caught on, like the guy whose teeth and gums are exposed and who's constantly clicking. He's called Chatterer. The larger, more rotund gentleman is ended up being called Butterball. And then the female Cenobite that was in the unit, she had like her throat was kind of held open with these hooks, and you could see like into her into her neck. They called her Deep Throat, the makeup department. That never caught on. She's just always female Cenobite from now on. But anyway, I'm kind of ranting about that. So in the first Hellraiser movie, I really like it. I think it's a classic, and I think it's really great, especially Doug Bradley, who portrays Pinhead here. He does such an excellent job of... He's very menacing, but he's not like evil per se. He's not just some bad guy out there to cause as much havoc as possible for no reason. He's very well spoken and very kind of erudite, and I don't know, Doug Bradley gives a great performance, and it's kind of interesting to have a villain, so to speak, that's not really a villain. He's just kind of like I said, the head of this order, and it's whenever the puzzle box is opened or whatever, he comes. That's the rules of the game, and if you didn't know that or whatever, that's not his problem. He's just there to take you to hell, basically. But anyway, I would highly recommend watching the first Hellraiser movie. I think it's really great. Like I said, Doug Bradley's performance is great. The story I find to be excellent. The bad guy is essentially Christy Cotton's Uncle Frank, who solved the puzzle box and was taken to hell an undisclosed amount of time before, but he managed to escape and come back, and now she's trying to figure out what exactly is going on, and is her father safe from this, because Frank had an affair with her stepmother years ago, and now she's somehow involved. She doesn't know what's going on, but she finds the box and solves it, and Pinhead wants to take her, but she manages to convince him that Frank has escaped, and in return for her freedom she's going to give them Frank. And I don't know, it's just a great story. I highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, the Cenobites are very interesting uh, beings in this universe. Now, once again, unfortunately, we have to talk about diminishing returns in a film franchise, because after the first Hellraiser, things kind of go downhill. The second one's still pretty good, even though they changed some of the mythology, but that's a cool one because you actually get to go into this, hell or pain dimension, wherever the Cenobites are from, and it's got a cool design of these, rather than being this like hot burning place, it's all like cool blues and this endless labyrinth and corridor and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. The third Hellraiser movie, they start to introduce really dumb Cenobites, which I'm not a fan of. Like a guy who, I don't know, he has like a camera embedded in his eye, like a video camera, and he can shoot the zoom lens kind of comes out and kill people. I don't know, it's dumb. People really rag on the fourth Hellraiser movie, where they call it Pinhead in Space, because yes, a space station is involved, but actually I really like that one. I think it's got a good story. It kind of talks about the history of the puzzle box and stuff like that, and it goes from like the past and then the present, in the 90s, and then into the future, which is on a space station. But it's not as dumb as like Leprechaun in Space or anything like that. But I don't know. I really like the first Hellraiser movie. I watch it probably once a year around Halloween time. Years ago, Anchor Bay put out a really great DVD with special features galore on it, so that's really fun to watch. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, I highly recommend it. So let's just put the signature on this guy. Awesome. Take a look at the scan. Turned out pretty good. He's got kind of a neutral expression, but I don't know. I just wanted to do a fun, simple drawing, and I was in a Hellraiser mood. Well, alright guys, thanks a bunch for checking out this video. As usual, all my social media stuff is up there. Check me out. I hope you liked the video. If you do, feel free to comment, subscribe, like, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. And that's it. Alright guys, I will see you on the next episode of Markers and Monsters.